Happy New Year, everyone. You're going to notice in the podcast, and this is why I'm just prefacing this, that we were recording a bunch of different episodes, and I was very confused in the first part of the podcast when we were talking about when this would air. So I do at some point realize that it was airing today on January 1st. So I just wanted to let you know that that's why it sounded like that. And I just leave things as is and don't edit it. So, anyways, happy 2025 to everybody and really appreciate you being here and enjoy the episode.
You're listening to the Live Out Loud podcast with River Wynn and Michelle Flamer.
Hi, River.
Hi, Michelle.
Oh man, I know I say this a lot, but I really love our pre-chats.
I like our pre-chats too. We laugh a lot.
We really do. I mean, we download some heavy shit together too, but
It's
mostly
like our weekly catch-up session.
it is. It's like, and it's funny especially when you're super quiet and then you've got like lots of stuff because it's the holidays, you're like pulled in all these different directions.
Yeah.
And then we just get a chance to like talk about the week a little bit, and yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. It's really nice. I enjoy it.
Well, we've got a few days before Christmas, and I'm sure everyone across the country, I mean, it's global, but everyone's in the freak out mode.
Well, when we're recording, it's a few days before Christmas, but when this
That's
episode
right.
comes out, it will be
It
2025.
will be. Happy Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is it going to come out on Christmas or is it
Wednesday.
going to be, oh, it's going to be the
No,
Christmas. Okay.
Yeah, it's on
Oh,
Wednesday.
okay. Okay. So it won't be the new year yet, but we'll be
Yeah.
approaching the new year. Yeah.
So if you're driving to your holiday festivities, thank you for bringing us along.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Don't forget your sweaty balls.
Sweaty balls.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God, I couldn't wait to send you those videos from SNL.
I feel like
Warm muffin.
I really like Alec Baldwin.
I do too. He's funny.
I don't know if he's a Taurus, but I'm like, he feels like a Taurus.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you have to look at, I mean, you
I'll have to look it up.
anytime. Yeah.
He has Taurus vibes.
But just those NPR SNL skits are the best.
Yeah, they are. I love SNL.
The actors are so brilliant. It's just, I'm in awe of those types of creatives just as much as I am when I walk through like a wine and art thing, wine and art festival. Or, I mean, and I think it's because you're watching someone be in their art, like they are. Just like, I mean, I love museums, I really do, and I love art. But I find myself, I enjoy walking through someone's booth more, knowing that they have put their heart and soul into their works, and they're right there. Like it's a 3D feeling for me.
Yeah.
I can really be like, wow, you're talented. Like I can really talk to the person. Like I can tell Van Gogh, like, hey, thanks for all your art, that
Right.
was amazing. I think it's really nice to be able to like
Connect with the person who made the art. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like looking them in the eye and just having that shared moment, like really, because it's just I mean, some people blow me away.
That's why I really like holiday events as a creative, like a vendor when I have a booth. And
All
then,
those makers.
I've also, I've had some art pieces in art shows, and I love the gallery nights for those where it's like the opening of the gallery show and everyone's gathering around to talk about our work and just connect. I really enjoy that. Yeah. Like the creative energy that happens when you're in person is beautiful.
Yeah, this year I really typically don't like to travel during the holiday, but I feel like I'm feeling drawn next year to whether it's this week, during Christmas week or not. I probably travel a little bit in December next year, but I just want to go and I want to find a city that like a little tiny main street, like Leavenworth, Washington, or something like that, where it feels really Christmassy and all those like cool events are going on, so that I can just like basically walked. I've been watching too many Hallmark movies, but
You should come to Northeast Oregon because Joseph, Oregon, outside of Wallowa Lake, is an amazing place to be in the winter. It's a very, very cute little rustic town with so many cute shops and so
well,
much
then
art
maybe
and
next
good
time
food.
yeah, maybe I'll just come to you and then I'll stay with you and then we can go do day trips to these like really fun little places.
There's a lot out here that I think you would enjoy creative
Okay.
wise.
I mean,
Yes.
I miss Oregon. I look forward to at some point, being back in.
Well, it sounds like you're going to be in Oregon a lot next year
It
because of your
does.
reading you had up with Angela yesterday.
It's really cool. I think we both
Tell
have
us
some
about it.
cool things. Yeah. So I had a reading with Eye of Zion, Angela, who, as most people by now, at least, if you're brand spanking new and you're listening to this for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
our dear friend Angela, she is a shaman and a
Mm-hmm.
spiritual practitioner, and she is a beautiful guide for us in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm fortunate enough to you know, book time with her. I'm really grateful that I have her in my world. So
Yeah.
yesterday, so usually she asks people, so we meditate. It depends on what kind of reading you're getting. I typically enjoy the channeled messages from our guides, from my guides or angels. And I really appreciate and value the wisdom that comes from that type of messaging as opposed to, and there's always a time for that as well as where it's more spiritual counseling than
Mm-hmm.
getting a channeled message.
Yeah.
So I'm always blown away by how she can tap in. But and I've been sending a lot of people her way over the years, as you have as well.
Mm-hmm. And she's been
Um,
on the podcast before.
and she's of course been on the podcast, but so she asks you to set intentions and then you meditate for around 15 minutes. And then she calls you. So sometimes, depending upon how deeply in the meditation you are, the phone may actually startle you. Like it sometimes
Mm-hmm.
because I'm really in my
Yes.
third eye space, or I have literally nodded off from meditating.
Yeah. I
Sometimes,
fell asleep one time.
yeah, and then the ring, and then doesn't the phone kind of scare you?
It did. I was like, wait,
Uh-huh.
wait, what's happening?
Uh-huh.
Oh, hi, Angela.
Exactly. So gave me a good little rundown of where I am and what's happening, and it's pretty cool. But I love the fact that I asked for as part of the intention, I asked, I really would love some guidance for 2025's word because
Mm,
this year's word, 2024's word was receiving. And
mm-hmm.
I really put that into practice
You
all year.
did, yes.
I really did. And I love and value having a word to kind of hone in on because sometimes that's the one thing that got me out of some situations. I was like, oh, I need to stop overthinking this and just sit and like receive whatever's
Mm-hmm.
coming in, like receive goodness, receive friends checking in on me, not being hyper independent,
Mm-hmm.
just things like that. So my word for 2025, and I'm going to stay with it actually, is dream. And so
Mm,
she said, I saw dream and then the word big in capital letters. And she said, and then out loud. And then of course she referenced the podcast
yeah,
Live Out Loud, which is why I resonated so much with
yeah.
dreaming at that. And so I need to dream big and out loud, which brings us to the other portion of that, which you just had mentioned. Why I would be coming up to Oregon is because something that both me and my ex have spoken about, and Kaden has made it very clear around wanting to go to University of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're a Duck fan or if you're not, that's located in Eugene, Oregon, right blot in the middle, 90 minutes from Portland,
Mm-hmm.
about 2 hours, from Portland, south of Portland, and then also about 90 minutes east of the ocean. So
Yes.
it's a really cool spot.
It's a
And
very beautiful place to be.
yeah,
Yes.
so I've started opening up Zillow and looking for some either a plot of land
Mm-hmm.
or with a house and some structures if possible, because if you don't have to do a lot of construction, that to me is better at this point. I'm a good handy person, but
Mm-hmm.
I am not like a builder by any means,
Yeah.
and so if I think that it just feels like having some buildings and structures really will be cool for the vision that I want to have. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really creating a space for retreats.
Have
Re-
you made a manifestation list for it yet?
No, I'm gonna actually do that because I was just reviewing, but what are you thinking?
No,
Should
I was just thinking that you should make an actual list of like what you would desire in an ideal
I might
place
throw it
in
in
Oregon.
ChatGPT, right?
Yeah, you could do that, but just like really get clear on like, and of course that can evolve and change too as you start looking
Mhm.
at properties, but like just have going with like an idea of what it is that you're looking for, but then furthermore, like why do you want those things? Like what's underneath it, right? Like why do you want to have
The
this kind
structures,
of a
like
location or this kind of
right.
structure? Like what is the thought behind it and like what are the needs behind it? So I
I
think that'd
like
just be really
that.
cool.
I like that because I won't be truly retiring at that point, and so I'll
Yeah.
want to be near an airport. You're right. I need
Mm-hmm.
to like really put, and I
Have
also,
good Wi-Fi, like if you're gonna work
and I also
remotely.
absolutely all that, and then also I
Yeah.
want to be. I only want to be a couple hour drive for Caden wherever I am in the States.
Yeah.
So it just makes more sense. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. But she also mentioned Utah. We have our space in Utah, and I had just spent time with my mom there, and every time
Mm-hmm.
I feel more connected and grounded to that space and to that area.
Mm.
And then she also mentioned Florida and New York City. And Florida, I'll be there for a trade show as well as New York City. Now, sometimes, just so our listeners understand, she's telling me, yes, I have road trips coming up. And yes, this isn't about pleasure travel in this case. It's really more about the intentions and the lessons that I am to learn within the state.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, when I step down, I step into the state of Florida, that I won't really know why I'm there or what the purpose of it is
Mm-hmm.
until I'm actually there. So,
Well, let me give an example
yeah,
because when we met in
yes,
2022,
yes,
I just had a reading with Angela, and she had told me that she saw me traveling in Utah, like Zion National Park, and I was newly getting divorced, and I had some free time to myself coming up. I didn't know what to do with myself, and as soon as she said that, she was like, you need to go to Red Rock. You need to be around Red Rock. You need to be in the sunshine. She's like, I see Utah, like Zion National Park, which immediately piqued me because I was like, oh, I freaking love Zion National Park. One of the best trips I've ever gone on in my life. I went on a road trip with my best friend for spring break through Zion National Park, Grand Canyon, all of that. I've always wanted to go back. And so I immediately started planning a trip for like 2 weeks later, like spur of the moment.
that's
Like,
right.
and I had no idea what was going to happen, but she was like, it's so important that you do this. Like, just you're being called that direction. And if I hadn't have gone on that trip, you and I wouldn't have met.
I know. Well, I have a feeling we would have met at some other point, but we met when we were supposed to.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if we
Yeah,
would have or not because I
true.
wouldn't have met Shanti on that trip. I wouldn't
That's
have stayed
true.
at Land Beyond Zion on that trip. Like
I
if
met
I,
Michelle.
yeah, there's so much unfolded from that trip
Uh-huh.
in big,
Photographer
big
Michelle.
ways. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, so I don't know that my life would look how it is now if I hadn't taken that trip.
I know. So I believe in that. When she says
Yeah.
that, it's like, it's not about like, ooh, like she said, Keaton and I are going to take a trip. And she said next year it's really important. But she said she saw us kind of going to Disneyland because like when she thinks about kids, it's like that's what
Mm,
most kids think. But Keaton and I don't find Disneyland like
mm,
enjoyable in the same way as a lot of other people would. And there's
yeah.
no fault to that, but it's more about us having like finding pure joy in what we're
Mm,
doing. It's about playfulness. It's about her and I just getting to share. a really beautiful experience to each
To
other.
bond and connect and
And
play.
funny enough, we've been discussing like for the last couple of months of like where do we want to go on spring break? So
Mm,
been looking and talking about different things, and all of them involve really fun, enjoyable activities in all
mm-hmm.
these different places that I've been looking at. And I don't know. Funny enough, I have land in Texas. My ex and
Mm.
I, we just bought it online, which is why she was like, you need to go to these places when you decide you want to look at property and physically be there to
Where in
feel.
Texas?
It's down near Big Bend National Park. It's in Terlingua. I
Oh,
have five
cool.
acre. We have 5 acres.
Right on.
And they're creating so many hip camps and motels down there.
Yeah.
It's like been a weird growing area, but on social media, it's like I see sometimes like Terlingua pops up and I'm like, whoa, it's the only thing that I've known there forever is literally the National Chili Cook-Off takes place there every September. Yeah.
Love
And
it.
Big Bend National Park, which again, I
Yeah.
love national parks and it's like a mini Grand Canyon. So I think we're gonna do that. I think we're gonna fly into like El
Oh,
Paso,
fun.
get a fun rental car and do the 4 hours down there and like
Camp?
yeah, there's a really cool motel hip camp type thing there. And so there's also these domes, and so
Mm-hmm.
I just can't book them yet. It's too far out
Mm-hmm.
until the calendar opens up. So there's like some really cool place. So again, like that's gonna be fun for us because
It'll be so much fun.
I know, and I'll pack her. She has a really cool carrying thing for her telescope. So
Mm.
because that's like a clear
I was
dark.
gonna say, is that a dark?
It
Yeah.
is.
Designated dark space?
Yeah, so if we end up doing that kind of trip, then I definitely want to do some type of cool tour for the national park
Yeah.
and do some other really neat things. And it's really borders near Mexico down there and stuff too.
Uh-huh.
So it's just an interesting area.
Yeah, that'll be really fun.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of what we're gonna do. And then I want to just go
Cool.
see where our actual like land is.
Yeah.
There's no houses around it. I'm just curious, like, what the heck it looks like. She
What's
is
out there?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's just sort of fun, you know. And so that brought me to how cool when you pulled cards last night, and then
I
I'll let
did. I pulled
then
Oracle cards. Yep.
yeah, you pulled Oracle cards, and so you pulled and by the way, what a beautiful deck that is.
One of my coworkers gave me that deck. It's gorgeous. I love it.
Yeah, if you could put a picture of it like on Live Out Loud's page, that would be amazing because it's a beautiful deck. Anyways,
Yeah, it's really
so
pretty.
you pulled for me the elk and ash, which means
Mm,
well, the elk really represents Kaden, my sweet 13-year-old's
hmm
spirit animal, her nickname that she uses like on her texting, and she's Okie Elk. And
Mm,
she even draws elk and all sorts of interesting stuff.
hmm.
So I love that you pulled it. So I'm gonna just read what the strength card is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you pulled it up upright. It
Yes,
wasn't
it was an upright.
I
Yes.
figured you would have mentioned if it was not.
Yeah.
Okay. Or the picture would have been
It would have
upside
been reversed. Yeah.
reversed, right? So it said meaning strength. Elk are colossal creatures crowned with substantial antlers, known to cover great distances over difficult terrain. They are symbols of strength and endurance. Likewise, ash trees are sturdy and resolute, able to flourish even in harsh environments. Upright, you are called to gather your strength ahead of a challenge, face it with confidence in your own stamina, and tame any unruly elements that'll try to derail you. I mean, and then it
Mm.
had a couple of cool prompts, which was
Yeah,
really.
I like this deck because it has some journaling prompts for
And
each
I know
card.
I was like, that is so you, the
Yeah.
fact that it had the prompts, but it said, and I'm actually gonna, I have my journal from the reading and I'm gonna write this too, but am I prepared to face upcoming challenges? And then how does inner strength differ from outer strength? And what situations call for each? So I think
hmm
there's just some neat prompts that I'm definitely gonna definitely do. But yeah, the image of the elk and the leaves are just it's a really beautiful deck.
It is. I love it. I love it so much. And I love that my coworker gave me that deck.
You know what? It says eight on the top, and I'm curious. I need to look at the symbolism of like number eight within an oracle
Mm,
deck
hmm
because that'll maybe tell another part of the story.
It does. The numbers always represent something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have to look that up too. So that's cool. Anyways,
Yeah, and the flower too. So you had it was the elkin, what was it, ash?
gosh, yeah,
Oh, so yeah, so look up
free.
ash tree,
I
that has
will.
symbology too.
Which I'm like fanatical about trees. So that's why I
Right.
was like really interesting that it's her and that the fact that she came up on my reading so
Yeah.
heavy yesterday and the
Yeah.
fact that she and I are just we're in such a beaueful space right now. So it's
I
great.
love that.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
So tell us some of your interesting fun stuff.
So yeah, I was yesterday was solstice, shortest day of the year, right? Solstice celebrations and well, depending on which part of the earth you're on, it could have been the longest day, it could have been the shortest day.
But you know
But
what? And I also, what I realized is this episode's actually going to be on January 1st.
that's what I thought. That's why I was like, I
Yeah,
think this is our 2025 episode.
it is. It's the
Yeah.
first, it's January 1st,
Yeah.
2025. But we'll
So it'll be
still wish everyone a
2025.
Merry Christmas because they
Yeah.
just had it or Happy Holiday.
Right.
Happy New Year.
And so I yeah, I was yesterday was solstice, and so I decided to pull oracle cards for the solstice just to kind of, feel into the energy around it. And the last couple of weeks, I've increasingly just had the most intense, unhinged dreams every single night. Like spiritual messaging is strong for me right now. There's some shifts coming for me, and I can feel that building. And so I was pulling these oracle cards and I posted on my Instagram and my Facebook page if anybody wanted one to, let me know and I would pull one for them. And when I pulled one for myself, it was a possum, which was fascinating because for a couple of reasons. I've never seen a possum in real life, first of all. They're fascinating creatures, but I've never seen one in real life. And the that card, so it was possum and peony, and that spoke to like bashfulness, but is the title of the card. But really what it speaks to is possums, to keep themselves safe, they play dead,
Yep.
you know
We have them
and
all over California. So I'm used to
yeah.
them and they're like big rats there. It's just my mom's had to catch two in a
Yeah.
cage.
And so, that card really speaks to the ways in which I have kept myself small, so
Hmm.
I'm not seen and heard because it wasn't always safe for me to be seen and heard. And that's a huge manifester in human design. That's a huge manifester wound. But then also on Friday morning, I had a IFS therapy session with my therapist, and we did some part work and unburdening of some parts that completely correlated to this possum card and this idea of playing small, because that was quite literally the part we were working with was a part from childhood that felt deeply unsafe being heard and seen, and so chose to
Hmm.
play small and literally be quiet, which is like
Play dead.
throat chakra wounding. And so like
Hmm.
as we unburdened this part, like I could literally feel like before we did the unburdening work, my throat was so tight and closed off, and I was like I kept like clearing my throat and it felt
Interesting.
constricted. And then as we did the unburdening work, my throat cleared up.
Mm.
And it was so beautiful. So then to receive this possum card, I was like, wow, this all just ties in and connects so deeply. So then after pulling that card, I actually hit the road to go visit my younger brother and his wife, and my dad was also going to be there. And so we just had the intention of spending the afternoon together, doing like an early Christmas, having some food and playing board games. And my brother lives about an hour and a half from me, so I would normally take the freeway to go to his
Mhm.
house because that would be the quickest. But as I was driving, I felt this nudge to take a back road that follows kind of close to the same route as the freeway, but it's like meandering through the woods and over this big, beautiful
You just
hill. And
wanted like nature and beauty. You
I
just
just
like,
felt called to
yeah.
take that route, and I did. And it's a road that no one else is really driving, so I didn't encounter any other cars on this road. And as I was driving, I came around a corner and there was a possum laying on the road. It had
I
clearly
mean, that
been
picture, I was
freshly
like,
killed.
what? What?
So I immediately pulled over and I went to examine it because I also do know that sometimes possums, like you should check if it's a female because they have pouches and they may have babies in their pouches that may still be alive and need rescued. So
Yeah.
I did
Oh, that's so
confirm that it
sweet of
was
you.
male and there were no babies present. But it was
Yeah.
very clear that it had been freshly killed, like maybe like within a half an hour. And I did take a picture that I shared of it. And I just stayed there with it for a while because I was blown away by the fact that I had pulled a possum card. And then here was this possum that I'd
So nice.
never seen one in real life before.
That's so
Um,
crazy.
and so it was just very affirming. And then I did some digger deeping into the meaning of possum, and one of the meanings that came up for it spiritually is it's really an invitation and a call to spend more time with loved ones, which felt so
Mhm.
resonant because there I was headed to spend time with my family.
I
Um,
I love all that.
yeah, and I've been receiving a lot of nudges too around educational decisions for my little 6-year-old guy and spending more time with him, potentially homeschooling and deepening into that with him. And so it was just affirming in that way. And then it was also very much like the message that came through from for me from my guides as I was sitting there was like, this is symbolic of like dying to the ways that you keep yourself small.
Yeah.
Like it's time to stop. It's time
Yeah.
to not play small anymore
Yeah.
in all the areas of my life. And
Yeah.
I'm really being challenged around that in a lot of ways from parenting to being a co-parent to my job to my creative work to just everything about myself. I'm every single area of my life right now, I'm really being challenged to not play small anymore.
Mhm.
So that was just very affirming to see that.
I freaking love that. I love that we pulled our cards. I still need to do this week. I oh, I did pull actually my all my 2025 cards. So yeah, I'm
I did
happy.
too. I need to finish going through and like mapping it all out for the year.
Yeah, me too. That's what I have to do.
Yeah.
I
I don't have a word for the year yet.
okay.
Last year, I don't really think I don't think I had a word for last year either. I'm trying
You
to
didn't.
remember. I don't think I did, but in hindsight, I would say that this last year has been integration, would have been the word. Like
I
it's
like
been a
that.
year of like big integration. Yeah.
I like that. I did look up while you were telling us your possum story around the ash trees and what they
Mm,
symbolize, and in as life healing, magic, and immortality.
hmm
It's a world tree. So in Norse mythology, the ash tree, also known as Yggdrasil, is the tree of life. What tattoo
mm,
do I have on my
which
arm? I have
which
a tree of life
saying
tattoo.
world, that was
Yep.
one of your
That connects the
cards.
heavens, earth, and underworld. Right. And I got the
Isn't the
world.
world your theme card for?
Totally. And so
Yeah.
it's medicinal, mystical properties, sacred tree, protective, solidity, and immortality. The ash trees, hardwood symbolizes powerful solidity and immortality, um,
Mm,
wisdom and knowledge, divination, and then idols. In the Bible, the ash tree represents the established works of men that become their idols. But I mean
hmm. Interesting.
that's it is. It's really fascinating. Then the number 8 in the Oracle deck can represent a variety of things, but endurance and resilience, much like the ash tree, right?
Hmm.
Infinity, the number 8 can be associated with infinity, which I think is cool, which represents the source of abundance from spirit. And that's,
And I believe this year was in numerology was a 7 year. 2024 was a 7 year, and I believe we're headed into an 8 year collectively.
woo. So it says,
You may not, you may need to look up your personal numerology of what the year is for you, numerology, like in numerology, but collectively, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe we're headed into an 8 year.
I think it's really cool, but there's material success. The number 8 can symbolize abundant material success.
Hmm.
And the new start of and the start of a new chapter in life.
Which is also the
Action.
world.
Yep, I know. Action, then number 8 can represent action, dedication, movement, and commitment.
Hmm.
Growth can indicate, the number 8 can indicate growth, which can sometimes happen in unexpected ways. And then completion, the number 8 can indicate the completion of a second phase, which can correspond to an achievement. And I'm kind of in that second phase of life.
Eight is also an infinity symbol.
Yep, that's what I said. Infinity. I said that a
Yeah,
little bit.
infinity. Yeah. Yep.
Uh-huh.
I love that. Continue continuity.
Uh-huh. So
hmm
that's what those two things mean. So it's fun, and it's fun to like share that with our audience, because I think you have to look at, you get one card and look at all the meanings that can
And the way
actually
it's all
mean,
connected too,
and
like,
how it's all connected,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
how I got
I
the
pulled a
world card.
lot of oracle cards for people last night. A lot of people right now were like, "What do I need to hear right now?"
Uh-huh, it's true. I mean, but Angela told me like next year is like just a big, beautiful blossoming year for me. Like it's
Mm,
just all the work that I've done. But she also said, because we're going into the age of Aquarius, right? We're going
yeah.
into a whole new 18, no, 19-year cycle.
Yeah.
And so it all resonates. Like it's
hmm
all there for me. And I literally just have to show up. I just have to stay awake.
Yeah, I think that this last year in hindsight, like I said, I think integration would have been the word for this last year. And the energy of it very much felt like a tying up of loose ends in some ways in
Mhm,
terms of
mhm.
healing. Um, and so I think for myself this next year, like the energy of it already feels like opportunity and possibility and like
Mm.
blossoming. I think blossoming is kind of the feeling I'm getting, like
Feels like
blooming.
hopeful,
Um,
but I like
yeah,
block.
it feels very, the energy for this coming year for me feels very different. And I'm not going to say year. It feels like it's
Yeah,
a new chapter opening.
yeah,
Yeah. It could go beyond 2025. It could be a chapter this is like a 19-year chapter for me.
yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah, it feels like a new cycle is starting, a very different one. And I
what do
don't
you
know what
think?
that's going to look like yet.
Well, I think yesterday Angela and I mean, usually when you start to get to know her, it's cool. If you, and I'll list her link in our show
hmm
notes for people, or if you just go to Eye of Zion on Instagram, you can easily find her. But at the end, we were just chatting, and I had some additional questions, and then we were just talking about the collective and coming into the year with a changing of the guards of our new president
hmm
coming in. No names need Voldemort. I'll just call him Voldemort. And with a mullet, because now he has a mullet. Did you see his new pictures?
My kids call him the Cheeto Man.
Okay, there you go. And but the collective is coming in, and I think, and I want to kind of pose this to you, but I feel like and Angela and I had a really lovely discussion around this, but I feel like there's two routes you can take for next year. There's the doom and gloom, waking up every
Mm,
morning and just thinking, because of who our president, who is in the White House, doom and gloom. And then
mm,
you could literally walk through the next 4 years in a doom and gloom, or where I choose not to be, but regardless of what is happening in politics and what is happening, unless, I will do whatever I can to sign whatever I need to do to be present and continue to move collective forward in
hmm
positive ways. But I choose to do it different. I choose to look and be hopeful, and not ignore, but more not pull in that rhetoric. Instead,
mm,
be a light and a source and a mirror to more reflect off of that. Like have it be like as a mirror. Like I've envisioned, like when someone's lost in the woods, and if they have a little reflector, it just shows where they are. But I'm
hmm
thinking like negative energy bounces off the mirror. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I choose to just put a little mirror, almost like a little shield, and say, I know you're there. I'm aware of the news. I know what's happening, but I'm not going to let it negativity and that toxic rhetoric seep into the good that I want to create for the next 40 years of my life. Like
Yeah, it's hard because there's like the collective experience, which is very scary right now and frustrating
Yeah.
right now. And it's going to be because we are changing the guard, right?
Yep.
And there's a lot of unknowns, and that's
Mm-hmm.
very real. And like we're also entering the age of Aquarius, which is very like the last time we had age of Aquarius, like the French Revolution happened. So like
That's right.
like the age of Aquarius is like, yes, human change is going to happen, but
Yep.
it's not going to always be pretty. And so there's
Right.
like the reality of the collective experience, but then there's also the reality of our lived personal experience, which may feel very different than the collective experience. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be a lot, I think that's going to be very confusing for a lot of people of, well, I'm flourishing right now in my life and things feel good for me, but then also things feel really shitty collectively. And
Yes.
maybe even like I know sometimes I even feel a little bit of guilt around like feeling positivity when there's a lot of collective negativity like going on, like we're still like Palestine's still happening, like there's all this stuff going on in the world. And so I think it's important what you just said that like it's okay to take ownership and lean into the fact that you have joy in your life and there's
Yeah.
positivity in your life and it's okay to share that. It's okay to
Yeah.
live in that.
Yeah, I think like every day, like the law of attraction and
Hmm.
um, and just creating a space that feels really wholesome and, not leaning, it's funny because I don't want to lean into like the materialism of what is happening in Washington because it's so all about material. I really
Mm,
want to create, and this probably goes back to my reading in the sense of I want to create space for other people to connect on a personal level because
hmm.
um
Community building.
just so much more. It's like
Yeah.
I get so much joy out of connecting people and I love really dropping in with others. Like there's so
Mm,
much joy for me in getting rid of the superficial and really having a heart-to-heart meaningful conversations. But I do want to facilitate and bring in more of that. And I don't know what
mm,
all that looks like other than me getting a piece of property and land to like say, good, I now have the actual space in which to call forth this kind of like Field of Dreams, build it, they will come. And that's kind of, I'm going on my knowing in that space, like going, just thinking that's what's going to happen. I'm going to build it and they will come.
I like resonate with that so much in a different kind of capacity. Like one of the
Yeah.
big nudges I'm receiving right now, especially with the preschool job that I'm doing, is that and as a parent with kids in the education system, um, I'm really seeing that my strength and skill set lies in working with kids with their hearts. Like I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, I could care less about your grades. How's your heart? How's your
Yeah.
mental well-being? How's your
Yeah.
emotional regulation tool set doing? Like
Yeah.
I find myself within my preschool job of connecting more deeply with some of these kids who are needing some assistance with emotional regulation and learning some of these things and needing to be seen in that way. And that is a huge nudge for me right now. And I don't know exactly what that means, but I know it's part of the future going forward of like I really truly love connecting with people one on one and helping them be seen and heard and learn how to emotionally regulate,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a child or whether it's a woman going through a divorce. Like emotional regulation is something that we all need to learn. Nervous system regulation is something we all need to learn. And so that's as you're saying that, I was like, yeah, I very much feel that community building and that intentionality and that one-on-one, but in the space of like working with kids and women.
Well, I think this time of year also, there's so much of around reflection.
Yeah.
Not only and I'll just speak for myself, but I mean, collectively, we know this is just that time of year.
We're wintering. Yeah.
And through work, everyone's reflecting on what next year's goals are going to be.
Yeah.
As a mom, I'm reflecting on what I want, for my child, going forward
Hmm.
and the family. I'm reflecting just as a growth mindset individual, someone who cares deeply about where I can be better I'm
Mm-hmm.
reflecting just on this year and how that
Mm-hmm.
looks, and also where I want to go next. But it's like you reflect on every, like what you said, what you haven't done. And I think it's just really, it's a beautiful time of year to, like you said, with this wintering and getting it kind of, set in stone and
Yeah, it's a
set in
time when
place.
we're nourishing the roots right now to see what's going to bloom in
Mhm.
spring. That's what we're doing. We're clearing space. We are tending to the roots. I know that that's even like manifesting physically for me of like I feel very called. I'm on a 2 week Christmas break from work with my kids, and I
Yeah.
don't have my kids for about half of it. And I feel very, very called to attend to my home. Very deeply called
Mhm.
to declutter, deep clean, just create like a better energy in my home after the busyness of fall and school and just really nourish in that way. So, that can physically manifest too, that wintering.
I love it. I mean, it's really great. It's crazy how good of a manifester you are at times.
I, I've been yeah, that's been kind of highlighted for me a lot lately too. I was just listening to a podcast yesterday. It's literally a podcast designed specifically for manifestors. It's like a manifestor community podcast, and they were talking about money yesterday for manifestors of like the way we show up to create income, and how good we are at manifesting it. But there's a definition that when we initiate to create income, it starts to drain our souls. Whereas if we initiate to create service and intentionality, that's when all of our needs are truly met in a deeply soul nourishing way. And I felt that so deeply.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes
So deeply.
that makes so much sense, right?
When
It's
when I make decisions for myself as a manifester, strictly from the perspective of money making, which you have to sometimes, especially as a single parent, you have to make those
Mhm.
decisions, right? But I find that I get very quickly drained and exhausted by the actions I take that are solely for the purpose of making money versus the actions that are taken from the intention of just showing up in service to the world and initiating others.
Mhm.
So that's sitting with me right now too.
I want to tell you that all of those beanies that you made, oh my God. But the beanie, wait. But the beanie ornaments were so stupid cute.
Okay, so to our audience, so what Michelle is talking about is that I beanie ornaments. So first of all, I work at a preschool. We had 20 preschoolers and we had a solstice party. So I made a little beanie ornament for each one of the kids to hang on their tree. They loved it. Um, and then my daughter, 2.5 weeks ago, her special education teacher called me and gave me
Oh
a
my
heads
God.
up that my daughter was going around collecting all of her classmates' favorite colors and her favorite teacher's colors because she wanted her mom to make beanies for everyone for Christmas. So she so she came
She
home.
literally offered you up without even asking
She
you.
did, and she is a manifester as well. So she was just like little manifester in action there, right? Initiating.
Totally.
Um, and she came home. She was like, "Mom, this is really important, really important. Can we do
Oh,
this?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fully willing to help you with this, but you also have to help me do it. Like, I'm not going to
ooh,
just do it all
good.
for you." And I have this knitting loom, and so I did the majority of it because she gets very being autistic, she gets easily burnt out, tired, disinterested. Um, but she very carefully selected a color for each one of her 20 classmates and her teachers, and we made all the beanies. And on Friday, the last day of school before break, I went into her class and helped her hand them out to all the kids, and it was just the cutest moment ever because every single one of the kids was just like super stoked to get these beanies. The teacher was super stoked about it. So many hugs, so many thank yous, and you could just like see her little heart just like overflowing with joy. Like this was such a special moment for her that I was like, of course, like why would I not do this? Like
I mean, it was adorable, but all
it
those
was
beanies
so cute.
looks, they're so awesome.
It was a great moment.
I
It's
need a
probably
gray,
my favorite part of this Christmas season actually so far was doing that with her.
definitely. I definitely need a gray or black one.
Yeah. I'm a little burnt out on beanies right now.
It's okay. My birthday's in January. It could be for my birthday next month.
Oh
And
man.
you only have to make one.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens. After
Rude.
I've made 23 beanies in 2 weeks, I'm like, I need a break
I mean,
from
it's
my
fair right
yarn.
now. It's fair to have a break.
23 full-size beanies and 20 beanie ornaments. That's a lot of crafting.
I mean, they looked really good.
They were
You did a
cute.
good job.
Thank you.
Well, we have 2025 loading right as we
Yes.
speak. And
Yeah.
anyways, another year of friendship, another year of the
Mm-hmm.
podcast. And I guess after this, I guess this one will be starting of season 3.
Cool. If you're still here listening, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for showing up. I mean, I do see people are listening all over the world, so it's cool.
I love that so much. Who would have thought?
I know. Yeah, we have a lot of Canadian listeners now. We have a few in France. We have
Hmm.
some in England. Yeah, they're all over the place. And then of course, America.
America, fuck yeah.
Oh my.
You remember that movie?
Okay. No, I don't remember because I'm thinking of the jazz singer with Neil Diamond. We come into America. Did you
Oh,
ever see that movie?
no, I was thinking of that cartoon movie that literally I can't remember. It was the creators of South Park
Beavis
who
and
made this
Butthead? Is
movie.
it Beavis and Butthead?
No, it's I will have to say I'll have to search it up. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I think it was the creators of South Park who made this movie.
Hmm.
And I watched it with my Canadian friends when I was in Canada, and it just like completely makes fun of the American military. And it's just like there's a song in it, and they're like singing America, fuck yeah. Like it's just massive rabbit trail there, but yes.
That is so hilarious. I'm definitely getting my full season of Hallmark movies and enjoying all of them, and have watched also let's see real quick. Oh, Married at First Sight, which is a hot mess and hilarious.
You and the
The
Hallmark movies.
Ultimatum,
You
Netflix,
love
baby.
your Hallmark movies.
Yeah, but the Ultimatum is a reality show.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I'll have Netflix.
Oh, and Married at First Sight is a reality show.
Yes, I have seen that one. Yes, I
Mhm.
have.
It's season 16.
Yes, I did watch that for a while. I don't have Netflix right now, so I'm so behind on all those things.
That's okay. There'll be lots to watch. Virgin River is starting back up. That's
Oh, I
definitely
love that
like
one.
a
That's such a good
Hallmark. I know
one.
I love them. So yeah, I'm starting
Yeah.
to watch that. I watched the first episode of the new season today. So, and then Queer Eye
Cool.
for the Straight Guy.
Hmm.
Queer Eye, they just call it now. They don't, because they do women and everybody else. So it's cool.
Yeah.
But when it was
Awesome.
really, when it originally started, it was Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Do you
Yeah, I
remember
remember
that?
that. Yeah,
Now
I
it's just
do.
Queer Eye. But Jeremiah Brent is in it, and I'm so in love with him and his husband.
Hmm.
They're just so dang cute. Yeah, so anyways,
Hmm.
that's what's happening. Gonna do a little family stuff. My mom's coming into town, and then I have a busy January, February of travel, lots of
Mm-hmm.
travel. And then hopefully some really fun trips on the horizon as well, especially up to you and other places.
Yeah, it's going to be a great start to the year, I think. And I hope that for
Yay!
everyone. I hope that for everyone.
Happy New Year!
Happy 2025.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll talk 20 times later today too, but
Probably.
I know. So anyways, I appreciate you, friend.
I appreciate you too. I
Love you.
appreciate you, Pod Squad.
Woohoo! Bye.
Bye. If you enjoyed this episode today, be sure to subscribe and share because what do we say, baby?
Sharing is caring.